Live from Fort Bragg's backyard, this is the show that put the 110 Nation on the map. There is only one nation, the 110 Nation, and you're listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show. Covering each and every sport across the board. There is no sport too large or too little. It's time to talk the talk. Here we go. Here's the man, the founder, and your host, Mr. CJ Sports.
I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I am your host, Mr. CJ Sports. You can follow me at Mr. CJ Sports. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Check us out on Facebook, my personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports. The 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Make sure you jump over to our site, www.the110nationsports.com, for all the latest, all the opinions, all the thoughts. We've been on it. Make sure you guys go there and check it out. I got to make sure that I thank Carolina Sports Plus. Without this great marketing partner, we wouldn't be able to do what we do and grow the way we grow. Thankful for them also. They are presenting our top 50 college program preview. I think I did 46 this morning. So I'll get ready to go on number 45. For those that don't know, go to the site, www.the110nationsports.com. I am doing my top 50 programs. When we get to about halfway mark, we got a little something we're going to be giving out and get all the details and find out how to do that. But to find out what day it's supposed to be, because I got them all of it dated when things are supposed to be dropping. You got to go over to the site and check it out. And you also got to like us on Facebook because the details are going to come out. You got to know what to do. But I got to thank Mario Edwards, founder, owner, CEO, all those things, all the above of Carolina Sports Plus. I got a great relationship with them. All you got to do is find them on Facebook, Carolina Sports Plus, for all your merchandising needs. They also have been sharing their posts on our fan page. Check out the merchandise and how to get some merchandise. So make sure you guys do that as well. Show some love to Carolina Sports Plus for everything they're doing for us. We got the return of Izzo. Izzo was back in the studio at 8:30. Looking forward to having him on the show, our NHL expert. I know we don't got a lot of details when it comes to NHL. At least I don't have a lot of details. Izzo's going to give us the 411 on what the latest. I know I did see something like 15 players have tested positive for COVID out of some 250 that have been tested. But hopefully Izzo's got some updates on that, updates on how they're going to host their season, when they're going to host their season, and when everybody starts reporting and everything else. I think I might be the last sport that's really got a concrete date on when they're expecting or trying to get back. It's like the sports guys just love me. Rolling into this, you're rolling into Sunday, and I got a show tomorrow. We got Izzo back. What are we going to talk about? We talk about NASCAR. I'm going to jump in a little bit. In NASCAR, you're being a little bit much with this. We could talk about my 46 through 50 right now. I can tell you that I have seen South Carolina, Purdue, Indiana, Air Force, and Texas Tech. I don't know which order they in, but those are the 5 teams that have been dropped. I can talk a little bit about that. Who knows? And I'm sort of thinking, what are we going to roll into? Where am I going to go? Then the sports gods bless me. The New England Patriots bless me. Then the idiots out there in the world bless me. For those that have been living underneath the rock for the last 24 hours, the New England Patriots were headlined twice yesterday. more so last night. As one, they did get fined, penalized, and lost draft picks for their videotaping of the Cincinnati Bengals Browns game, and had their production throughout there. Regardless if they were trying to cheat or not, which my whole issue with it is when people go off the deep end about they're the Patriots cheating again. And then they like to throw up Spygate number one. Okay, well, I give you that. I don't know if that was necessarily a hard written. I think that was just kind of an unwritten rule. If there's not something in the bylaws, then it is what it is. Don't ever tell me that the Patriots are the only one that would do that. Then you roll into the next thing everybody wants to throw up is Deflategate. Nobody's ever proven anything on that. The only thing that anybody has right now is two teams. I believe it was the Colts. I know the other team was the Ravens, but Colts and Ravens that were butthurt because once again Tom Brady and the New England Patriots kicked their butt. I mean, what even close? And nobody proved anything. Could not find anything. Granted, Brady got suspended for 4 games, which I think is just the most ludicrous thing that ever happened. Because how do you suspend somebody and you have no proof at all? But then you people making a big deal. The Patriots lose the 3rd round draft pick in the 2020 draft, and the Patriots are fined $1.1 million for this. Let's be honest. Let's lay all the cards on the table. Let's call an ace an ace. Let's call a spade a spade. New England Patriots. Probably the most winningest franchise in the last 20 years. I mean, we can debate. They ain't necessarily won all the Super Bowls, but let's be honest. Their record over the last 20 years got to be the best. They got, what, six rings? And Brady on 2 hands worth of rings. I know he's got at least 5, I think 6. So it's not like this is not a winning franchise. And this New England Patriot team, still with Tom Brady, finished the season 12-4. Was 10-3 rolling into the following week after the Browns-Bengals game when they played Cincinnati. Do you honestly think? I'm not. What they did was wrong. What they did, I'm not gonna say was wrong. What they did was not allowed. I'm not disputing whether or not they should be suspended. I'm not disputing whether or not they should be fined. But let's be honest, though. Do we honestly think that they were trying to cheat to beat one of the worst teams in the AFC in the Cincinnati Bengals and a Browns team that was very dysfunctional, one of the most talented teams last year and going into this year, but very dysfunctional? We done had the whole Myles Garrett thing, and you kind of done lost the mojo. We had finally got some momentum going. We was beating the Steelers, and that happened, and that kind of just killed the rest of the season. Do we honestly believe? Come on now, let's be honest now. Do we honestly believe that they were trying to cheat to have to play against the Cincinnati Bengals? Almost any college team in the top 25 last year could have beat the Bengals. So you're telling me multi-time champion team coached by Bill Belichick, a team that had Tom Brady, who was considered and arguably is the GOAT. You're going to tell me honestly you feel that they were trying to cheat to beat the Cincinnati Bengals? Come on. Who you trying to play here? I understand what they did was not right. Regardless if they intentionally did it, whether or not it was just the TV crew was not paying attention to what they were doing, I really don't care. Wrong is wrong, I get it. But to see all these people and all these reactions, and you got to hear all day long about Spygate and Deflategate, now we got this, we didn't call this spy on the worst team gate. I mean, come on. Unfortunately for the Patriots, they've had a kind of a. It's funny because I say they have a shaky past, but one, you can debate whether or not that was an actual law in the NFL. That was kind of more of an unspoken thing. That one was not proven. We got bounty gates for the Saints. We got the Falcons. I got fined a handful of years ago for adding fake crowd noise to the PA system. Every team cheats. It's funny because the people only worry about the teams that win. All the rest of the teams that ain't winning Super Bowls, that ain't doing jack, they cheat and nobody cares. Like, it's not a big deal. But you're going to point out the Patriots, who you've not really proven anything to this point, other than this time, yes, they did something that is not allowed at this point, but you're going to go to it's cheating, which who says they try to cheat? I mean, the Bengals are freaking crying out loud. Come on. That'd be like them video recording the Jackson. Come on. Think about it, people. Think about it. Then the Patriots made headlines as well with Cam Newton. I thought it a desperate move. You didn't draft a player or quarterback in the draft. You have 3 second, third-string quarterbacks at best with Stidham, Brian Hoyer, and actually got 4 of them, and rookies Brian Leurick and Jamar Smith. It's an exploration move because you're not completely confident in Stidham and at this point. And Brian Hoyer is proven that he's a quality backup, but is not starter material, as we've seen him in a couple places, Cleveland, Houston. And a desperation move, and to take the focus off the fact that you lost Tom Brady, you brought in Cam Newton. You brought in a quarterback that rarely really even completed 50% of his passes. You go from Tom Brady, who hardly ever turned the ball over and has a high percentage completion ratio, to you bring in Cam Newton, really not known for being able to hit receivers, 59% career-wise on the completion, and then 108 interceptions on just 184 passing touchdowns. Like, in 9 seasons, you're but averaging 20 touchdowns a season. But let the fans, oh my Lord have mercy, let the fans tell it. It's a whole other story. I can't believe that the New England Patriots are paying him so little. I can't believe Cam Newton allowed the Patriots to do him this way. Contracts for $1.1 million. 1.1. With both the incentives, you can make up to $7.5 million. So in other words, one, New England is in a very tight salary cap. So there was a limited budget. Obviously, if he's willing to accept that contract, it's a little over $1 million, nobody else is even fishing for Cam Newton. If a prior MVP of the league and someone that has led their team to the Super Bowl, everybody gets wrapped up in that. They do realize that, and understand that the Carolina Panthers don't make their schedule, but they fell into the easiest schedule that any team had that year. They played like absolutely nobody with winning records. Even their whole division sucked that year. They really didn't play anybody until the first person they played actually was good and actually had a legit good record or winning record was the Arizona Cardinals. They got past them, then they lost in the Super Bowl. So they really only beat 1, maybe 2 legit teams all year long, and that's it. Everybody else, they had a bad year. It was horrible. That's why they cruised. That's why he got MVP. Like, he looked like a superstar until he actually played teams, and he struggled to get past Arizona and lost in the Super Bowl. Obviously, nobody's fishing. That's the deal he took as we are, 2 months away from pretty much preseason. He took the deal. Team with a salary cap. Patriots were wise with this. Look, this is our cap, but bonus incentive-wise, you can make this. Basically, what I'm hearing as a Patriots, if you play like the garbage that you played the last few years, then this is what you're going to get. If you actually learn how to be a quarterback and to be accurate and actually lead us and win games and do something, then we're going to reward you for that. Coming off 2 seasons with injuries, you wouldn't even dive on a loose fumble to help win the Super Bowl. He just looked at it and stood there. But I ain't about that life. Big one, living in Carolina, I couldn't stand the whole Superman and all the garbage talking. I have mad respect for players like Barry Sanders that just did his thing and then gave the ref the ball and that was it. Like, I totally despise the whole defense running to the end zone, taking it. Just truly unnecessary and just truly one of the stupidest things I've ever watched. But I am not a fan of the run first, throw second quarterback. I'm not a fan of those quarterbacks, those players being put in a quarterback position that can't throw the ball and have to use their legs. RG3, we saw how well that worked. Michael Vick, so people loved the career he had. Didn't win a Super Bowl. Really, he had some highlight reels of running the ball. But, I mean, you bring up the name Michael Vick. The only thing really people think about him anymore is that whole dog fighting thing. And I'm past that. It's not like I'm on a rush, but let's be honest. You throw out the name Michael Vick, that's the first thing and really the only thing anybody thinks about. Lamar Jackson. Nobody talks about his arm. We're going to watch defenses. They do this, and it's funny. And Colin Kaepernick's another one. Horrible arm. For a season or two, they come out. Defenses don't know how to deal with them. They don't know how to pursue him. He runs all over the teams. We watch Vic do it. We watch Kaepernick do it. We watch Newton do it. We watch RG3 do it. We watch Lamar Jackson do it. And every single time, defenses have adjusted and they've gone away. I want the traditional quarterback. I'm sorry. Tom Brady, 20-plus years. One of the best quarterbacks in the league. Aaron Rodgers, God knows how long he's in the league. I'm not saying he's one of the best, but arguably Russell Wilson. He runs a little bit more than I like, but he tries to throw first. He's got a small body frame. I'd really like him not to run as much as he does. Peyton Manning, look what he accomplished. John Elway, what he accomplished. He ran a little bit too much for me as well, but look what he accomplished trying to stay in that pocket. Your quarterbacks that are decorated, Joe Montana, Steve Young, they ran at last-ditch effort. Most of them tried not to run. Then you got these hybrid quarterbacks that everybody gets awed over. Wow, Lamar Jackson next year. Look what he did this year. Just imagine the teams are going to sit down, watch film, learn how to adjust, look what to watch for, make those adjustments, and his numbers get lower every single year. Oh, CJ, you just don't like Lamar Jackson. I think he's garbage, but that's my opinion. But we're just based off the facts that it's happened to every single quarterback. No quarterback that we label as a hybrid quarterback has gotten better. Every single one of them, they continuously got worse till they were no longer there. That's why this whole Colin Kaepernick, he's been blackballed. No, he just sucked. He was he out of 35 eligible quarterbacks in the last 2 seasons he played, only one quarterback that he outranked. If you average everything together, maybe 2.5 quarterbacks. That's it. Teams adjusted to it. There was no more of him running around getting all those yards. when it came down to him actually having to throw the ball, I think one of the worst percentages in the NFL, one of the worst QBR ratings in the NFL. Now, what this does do is stir up the whole pot of the Colin Kaepernick conversation. Because, like I said, obviously it's not about blackballing. It's obviously about quarterbacks that there's not good quarterbacks. Cam Newton was still out there, and Cam Newton is slightly better than Colin Kaepernick. Now the Patriots signed him. I guess that kind of frees that up to now someone else looking for a second or third string quarterback. Now there's your Colin Kaepernick. As long as Colin Kaepernick can put his pride to the side and not demand starter money. It's not that Colin Kaepernick's not gotten many offers. He just wants to be paid like a starter, and he's not a starter. Cam Newton on a lot of teams would not be a starter. On the Patriots, a good shot. That also kills me. People talk about all this instantly puts the New England Patriots in the conversation of winning the division and making the playoffs. At what point was the Patriots not conversation of winning the division of playoffs? Did you not see the other three teams that are in their division? Let me refresh your memory. Miami sucks. Jets suck. Buffalo sucks. Even with any four of those quarterbacks, two rookies, a quality backup in Brian Hoyer or Jarrett Stidham, you still were very likely to win that division. They were the only 11-5 team not to win the division with Matt Castle as a quarterback. So I know it was possible. You know, always count on the New England Patriots so to be always count on the New England Patriots to give us some headlines. But this might go have been interesting for definitely keep our eyes on this. We got about 7 minutes before Izzo joins the studio. We got some wrapped up with some of this stuff. It just blows my mind. I'm going to my top 5 running backs in the NFL. I got a little resistance on it, not a lot, but me and another person had 4 to 5 the same. We had only one person different. We had them a little bit different order. Number 5, I got Saquon Barkley. This tells you how talented this list is that I have over at the 110nationsports.com. That should tell you what Saquon Barkley is number 5. Barkley limited. Injuries kept him limited last year. This year should be a different year. 277 rushes, 1,003 yards, 4.6 yards carry, 6 touchdowns. Expecting Barkley to come into this season healthier, ready to help carry the load for the Giants, loosen up a little bit of the pressure for the quarterback, and I think this will be a good year for Barkley. I made this list before the video came out today of Ezekiel still being on a live chat or whatever and saying that he was pretty much high, and then said, "Oh shoot, I didn't turn off my webcam or whatever." So I don't know how it's going to play out. I'm assuming he went down to GNC real quick and got him some stuff to clear out his system. But Ezekiel had 301 yards last year, 1357, 4.5 yards, 12 touchdowns. Elliott found a way to be even more productive in 2019 than he was in 2018. Doubled his touchdown total, went from 6 touchdowns to 12 touchdowns last year. 78 first downs only to Derrick Henry, and he had 972 yards after contact, which was 4th in the league. Only reason he made 4th on this list instead of farther up the list is a couple of reasons. One, you got the whole Dak Prescott being franchise tag. Dak Prescott feeling that he deserves to be the highest paid quarterback, which he has done nothing to deserve to be the highest paid quarterback at this point. And it's just crazy how ungrateful people are. You got the Cowboys that are willing to pay him, 35 million, something like that, which is not good enough for him. A quarterback that was, third round, if I'm not mistaken, on the Mississippi State, and kind of just fell into the position with Romo leaving. I don't think it was somebody they really had drafted I think they just drafted him because they thought they had a quality backup, and I think that's what the plan was. I don't think that initially that was the plan for them to make him a starter. And you have all these pieces around you, Amari Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott. You brought Jason Witten back, and you got this talent, and you're unable to do anything with it, and then you feel that you should be paid a ridiculous amount of money. There's going to be a lot of focus on that, the whole national anthem, Jerry Jones, and that whole Orla garbage going on, which is going to take some of the focus of the team and the fans, and so that's going to be a distraction. So it's going to be interesting to see how this affects Elliott's attention, his focus, and the team's overall focus, and if they will bring it in as a unit or they will allow these distractions to tear them apart or, at best case scenario, distract them on what needs to be done, and if that will affect Elliott's production, and it's kind of why he slipped down to the fourth spot. Christian McCaffrey is the third spot, beast of a running back out of Carolina. 287 rushing yards last year, 287 rushes for 1,387 yards. 4.8 yards a carry, 15 touchdowns. Third running back in history to have 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving, behind Roger Craig and Marshall Faulk. And third all-time behind Chris Johnson and Marshall Faulk with 2,392 yards from scrimmage. Now that you don't have Cam Newton at all, completely taken away from the focus of the running game, and you get another year to work with your quarterback, and you get to work with the rhythm and the timing and getting comfortable with your quarterback, I think will only help McCaffrey and letting him be the centerpiece of the running game and help catch the balls in the slot or out the backfield will pay dividends and give the quarterback a kind of a safety blanket. It's a very productive year for Christian McCaffrey. Number 2 on the list. I think I could have went number 1 with this one, but I had to go number 2. I feel that I've made the right decision. Henry led the NFL in yards after contact with 1,268. And in the postseason, that was regular season. Postseason, 337 yards. Big body beast, 29th overall. A big body tackle. The Tennessee Titans drafted the big body tackle Isaiah Wilson to help open holes and give Henry some more options and lanes to choose from. I expect Henry to, especially with Tannehill being the quarterback, I expect Henry to continue to be in beast mode like he did last year, regardless if he was your team or not. Especially if he wasn't on your team, you wanted to watch what he did last year in the playoffs, and what he did to finish up the season was remarkable and great to watch. Number 1, part of it might be because of the Browns fan. The other part is because of what Nick Chubb has done. 298 rushes for 1,494 yards. That's 5 yards a carry, 8 touchdowns. Chubb really opened a lot of eyes, and I think he was overlooked for a lot of the year because the fact that you had Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham, Javon Landry. You knew Kareem Hunt was coming the back half of the season, and I think that he kind of got lost in all of it until about midway of the season, and we realized that it wasn't just a fluke here and there, that Nick Chubb was everything that we was hoping he was going to be, what I watched when he played for Georgia. And what I was expecting. And then now that you've got a healthy OBJ, you got probably the best duo in, if not at least top three duos with Landry. To line up the field, you got Green Hunt, who's going to be playing the slot as well as backfield. You're going to keep that defense true and honest, and it's going to open up more opportunities and give Chubb more of a open field. So looking forward to watching Chubb and the Cleveland Browns play. That was my top five. If you guys missed the my top five quarterbacks, I did that about 2-3 days ago. All you got to do is go over to www.the110nationsports.com. Check it out. Don't forget, give us a like on Facebook, the 110 Nation Sports, and give us a follow on Twitter at 110 Nation. Should have Izzo joining us at any moment. Well, if you have to call in, I want to make sure that I thank Carolina Sports Plus. Without that Carolina Sports Plus, we wouldn't be able to do what we do or grow the way we grow. If you guys are not giving us a like us on Facebook. Check out the site. I tell you what, the Facebook and the site, they're both. If you're not checking out the site, you really got to check the site out. We do a lot of work, a lot of upgrades, a new theme, everything. It's definitely, I'm very happy with how that turned out and the theme that we upgraded to and everything else. But without any further delay, let's go ahead and get Izzo in the house. It's been a hot minute. I've missed my 3 stars of the day. I've missed all the things that I've gotten to get used to in what is now officially today. It's been 5 years ago that Izzo has joined us. Happy anniversary. Thank you for everything you do, Izzo. How have you been?
Well, it's been a long, lonely road since March there, Jay, but I do appreciate that. It doesn't seem like it's been 5 years, man. It seems like it's only just really kind of started. So, I do appreciate that, and I appreciate the opportunity to come in and talk some hockey week in and week out. And it's just been like you said, it's been a crazy world, since March and everything, but things seem to be picking back up again. We got some sports kind of coming in, but kind of watching cornhole and Korean baseball and log sawing or log climbing. It's been a starving adventure to just try and get that sports fix and everything in, but we're kind of creeping back into getting back to normal. So hopefully this will keep up and we can have some sports back again, Jay, especially some ice hockey.
Who you telling? I never thought there would be a day I'd watch Korean baseball or iRacing as my event for the day when it comes to sports. There's a couple headlines, well, at least one headline that I saw today. I want to get your thoughts and opinions on it, and then I'm going to follow that with what we know so far. Because I know when baseball's supposed to report when they're shooting for an opening day. I know the NBA's right around the corner. NFL's kind of tracking on their regular schedule because they're still in fall. But I've not really heard anything of the NHL, so I'm hoping you got input. But the first thing is, earlier today, I think I was watching PTI or before PTI. I think it was SportsCenter. They talked about 15 new cases, 250 people tested. If I'm shooting off the memory right. What's the concerns, the consensus when it comes to the COVID-19, and what is the NHL how they planning to try to, I know that like basketball's got the bubble where everybody's going to Orlando. Baseball, they're kind of keeping everybody at their home stadiums and the stadiums in there and splitting everybody up. What's the consensus and thoughts about the 15 tested positive and your thoughts on that? And then 2, what is their plan? And we'll get into the opening and when they're going to start everything in a minute, but their plan to kind of contain or try to keep everybody safe.
Yeah, this has been kind of an interesting thing because, as we've all been listening and watching on SportsCenter and sports radio that, all these professional leagues are having players test positive and everything, and the NHL is no exception. The NHL is kind of taking a back door to all this. You rarely ever, really see anything that deals with this COVID business in the NHL right now. Everything's all basketball, baseball, and will football even get going on time and everything. But as of today, the 29th, the NHL has had in excess of 250 players report to club training practice facilities for the optional participation of Phase 2, where they get 5-6 guys that come out and get on the ice, and just try and get some ice time in, get some skating in, to try and get back going and again, back into the groove again. There have been over 1,400 COVID-19 tests that were administered to this group of players, and I think it was just 15 returning players have confirmed positive tests for the virus. So, since June 8th, which was the opening of Phase 2, the league is aware of 11 additional players who have tested positive, who are outside of the Phase 2 protocol right now. So there's a lot of, there's still a lot of issues kind of being, kind of taken care of right now. There are players, being quarantined and everything like that for this, which is kind of, been the protocol for every sports team so far, Jay. So, it's still a work in process in my mind. Where I'm at in Houston right now, we've kind of spiked again, just with the recent events with the protests and, everything else that has kind of followed, things have kind of gotten out of control again. And, Houston is actually one of those cities that might get shut down again, ever since they've reopened, some of the bars and the restaurants and everything. It's kind of posed a serious threat of being locked down again. So, this is still going to be an issue. You still have players that might be out of the country right now, in their respective home countries, up in Canada. I do know that the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control up in Canada, Canada's version of that is still working very closely with the NHL and facilities right now to make sure that every protocol is being followed and being taken care of essentially. So, with how this is kind of breaking down and everything, this has just been one of those weird things where it's, it is unfortunate, things like this don't really happen every day. So I'm really happy with how the NHL has really handled this. It hasn't become what baseball has recently went through where, you had the Players Association and the owners pretty much arguing how many games they're going to play and, how much pay they're going to get. You haven't really heard that, coming out of the NHL. And I don't think you are going to hear that coming out of the NHL. There were guys that were just, stressing to get back on the ice, Jay, just to get back into the groove of things, just to, strap on some skates and slap some puck around. It's something that these guys truly miss, and and it being at that crucial part of the season right now, because by now the Stanley Cup should be over. We should already be in the middle of the draft right now. So, with all this kind of going on right now, the NHL is monitoring every team closely, every facility very closely, to make sure that they, keep everybody, safe and everything like that, and protected from this COVID, the COVID nonsense and everything. So, just been very, very impressed with how the NHL's really handled this, Jay.
What is the NHL? What do they have I'm not going to say a plan, but do they have any dates that are set that we're looking at? Maybe them to actually report whole team wise, not maybe a phase. And do we have an expected date when they're trying to shoot for either a preseason or just to get the season started? Is there any dates on that yet?
Well, right now, training camps for the 24 teams resuming play will open on July 10th, and that was announced by the Players Association a couple weeks ago. So there is a set date right there. I do know that there are some guys that are still kind of a little bit leery, but that's been the case everywhere. Phase 3. which is the NHL return to play plan will occur provided that the medical and safety conditions will allow games to be played and everything. So, July 10th is what we're looking at right now, and I would guess that it'd probably be somewhere just after that, maybe. Probably, I'd say the middle towards the end of July. That's when we would see play to be resumed. Just quite yet, the NHL is kind of taking it step by step right now. Not really, setting anything in stone. But the July 10th for the Stanley Cup qualifiers for how the rest of the season is going to be played out. But like I said, Phase 3 of the NHL play to plan will occur after all the medical and safety conditions are followed up through and make sure everything's all right. The length of the training camp and the start date for the resumption of play is still yet to be determined. So, like I said, the NHL is kind of taking, this step by step right now. They want to make sure that, everybody's, healthy for one, and two, that, everybody else and the facilities are going to be, safe to, practice or play in. So, we could be looking at a very, very short, I guess you would say, training camp for when the players come back on July 10th, Jay.
Is there any kind of dates for like free agency or all that? I know baseball they're talking about up to a certain point. Are they handling free agency or trading any differently, or is there any word on that?
No, the trade deadline was pretty much back in February, just before the season was paused in March. So they're not going to change anything with the free agency and everything. Trades and everything like that have been concluded back in February. That's always in February and everything. So the NHL kind of lucked out with that one too. So. They are going to keep everything pretty much the same. The only things that have been, essentially just pushed back right now have been, the rest of the season, the playoffs, and the draft so far. So, this kind of really kind of worked out in favor of the NHL, unlike, what the NBA and the NHL or the MLB, I should say, are going through right now. So,
gotcha.
Right now they don't have to worry about that. The free agency and the trade deadline have already passed, so that's just one less headache that the NHL has to deal with at this point in time.
Now, speaking of draft, I'm not sure exactly how you do it, and every league seems to have a different way of doing it. But I did see that, and since it's the headline, I'm assuming this is different. Talking about the number one pick, the NHL draft lottery, to be decided by second drawing. For those that are not as knowledgeable, one, explain how the draft in the NHL happens. Like I said, every league is different. NFL is reversed, and NBA there's a lottery pick, and you got so many odds, and everything is different. But two, also how is this different, if it's different than a normal traditional year, decide the number one pick, or how they decided the draft order?
Well, the NHL draft lottery is extremely similar to the NBA draft lottery. You have the bottom four teams. They have the best chance, to win that number one pick, in the draft and everything. So, and usually it's been the same like that for quite some time. Because the NHL draft, there's not a lot of hype in the NHL draft, or like not like basketball or NFL or anything like that, where these guys have the potential to be superstars right out of the gate. Typically when you're seeing guys in the NHL being drafted, they're young teenagers, 18, 17 years old, sometimes maybe even younger. Most of these guys are going to go through minor leagues and everything, AHL, ECHL, the AHL, whichever. Wherever they should be designated, just to try and get some experience, sharpen some skills, and get ready to get, to play in the bigs and everything. So, when you look at the this year's draft lottery, the number one spot is actually going to be determined by this play-in system that the NHL has had, or that is going to have. So right now, as it stands, The number one draft pick has not been determined yet. It will be determined by the 11 team or 12 team play-in, which is the bottom selection of the team, or the bottom part of the teams, or the 16 teams. I'm sorry. Which will play the best of 5 qualifier series into the play-in, which consists of the Arizona Coyotes, the Calgary Flames, Carolina Hurricanes, Chicago Blackhawks, Columbus Blue Jackets, Edmonton Oilers, Florida Panthers, the Minnesota Wild, Montreal Canadiens, the New York Islanders, and the New York Rangers, the Nashville Predators, the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Maple Leafs, Vancouver Canucks, and Winnipeg Jets. All these teams have a shot at that number one pick as of right now. Depending on how the play-in system kind of plays in. So number one pick hasn't been determined yet. The number 2 pick belongs to the Los Angeles Kings. The number 3 pick goes to the Ottawa Senators, which came from the San Jose Sharks, which I do believe was part of a trade from a while ago. Number 4, Detroit Red Wings are on the board. And number 5, Ottawa. Again, the Ottawa Senators with the number 5 pick. Anaheim Ducks with the number 6 pick. New Jersey Devils with the number 7 pick. Buffalo Sabres with the number 8 pick. So that's our first. Those are the top 8 picks right now. They don't have the other 2. I don't know why they don't have the top 10 rounded off, but that doesn't make any sense. But the Ottawa Senators right now they have 2 of the top 5 picks right now in the draft coming up on later on this summer and everything. So that's what we had last week and everything when it came to the when it comes to the 2020 NHL draft. So I do know that Luc Robitaille and Rob Blake, who are the front office guys for the LA Kings, are pretty excited for that number 2 pick. They're going to be they're in full rebuild mode right now, so looking forward to that. And I'm really looking to see this placeholder team. A lot of good teams could actually sneak up and take that number 1 pick. So whoever that might be out of those 16 teams. Has a real good shot. This draft is kind of stock full of talent. A lot of good skaters that are coming up that I'm really kind of looking forward to and seeing where they're landing, and that's something that we will touch on in the coming weeks as we kind of get back into play, if we actually can get back into play. So I'm going to be paying attention to that, Jay, as that kind of unfolds throughout the week. But yeah, long gist of it's pretty much the same thing as the NBA draft. Lottery and how that works.
I'll tell you what, I hope that the Columbus Blue Jackets finally reach number 1 pick, but that was not the list I wanted to hear. The Blue Jackets on the season. The season really went downhill before the end of the year. I know. I don't know if you got any more after this topic, but I know that we got the class of 2020, the Hall of Fame class of 2020 announced. And that's always a big deal. One, it brings back a lot of memories of a lot of great players. I know NASCAR just did theirs not so long ago. I know the Hall of Fame game for the NFL has been postponed, and so the inductees, the ceremony gets pushed back to 2021. But it's a big deal. It acknowledges the greats of the great, and it brings back a lot of memories, especially if you got players going in that you got to watch yourself and be fans of. And then once you don't, you always sit around and let me see some highlights. Let me see what the hype is. Why is he going into the Hall of Fame? And then a lot of times you're like, oh, that's why. How did I forgot about that kind of conversation. But we got the class of 2020 got announced. Izzo, let's run through those and tell me what you think about this class and who sticks out to you.
Well, this is actually kind of a pretty good class in my mind. We have a good selection of names, 6 names. They're going to highlight this class of 2020. Jerome McGinley, 20-year career, longtime player. Marian Hossa, Kevin Lowe, Doug Wilson. Kim St. Pierre, who was the goaltender for the Canadian women's national team, is going to be the first female goalie inducted. And Ken Holland, who's been a GM for quite some time, was elected in the builders category. But kind of running through those guys. Jerome McGinley, longtime Calgary Flames forward, scored over 1,300 points in his career, 625 goals, 675 assists, in just over 1,500 games in 20 seasons. McGinley skated with the Flames, Pittsburgh Penguins, Boston Bruins, Colorado Avalanche, and the LA Kings. He is 14th in games played and tied for 16th in goals in his career with Hall of Famer Joe Sakic. 9th in game-winning goals with 101. He had 68 points in 81 Stanley Cup playoff games, 37 goals, 31 assists. I do believe he's going to be the fourth black player to be inducted, joining Grant Fuhr, Angela James, and Willie O'Ree into the Hall of Fame. So, I think there couldn't be any more better timing than to have that kind of happen right now too for Ginla, and just for the black community altogether to say, hey, listen, look, man, you ain't got to be white or European to play hockey, man. It doesn't know any kind of bounds or race like that, man. Hockey's for everyone, and I think Ginla really represented the game right. Unfortunately, he came up short on the Stanley Cup, on his Stanley Cup run and everything a few times, actually losing in the Cup final back in 2006 to the Tampa Bay Lightning, which it kind of has an asterisk next to it, because there was a certain play where Calgary had scored a goal that could have been a series-winning goal for them to seal the Stanley Cup, and unfortunately back then there was no instant replays. So, but congratulations to Jerome McGinley, gold medal winner with Team Canada in the 2002 Olympics, Art Ross Trophy in 2001 and 2002, and won the Rocket Richard Trophy in 2003-04. He's got plenty of hardware, and I'm just really glad that Jerome McGinley, he was definitely one of the guys I enjoyed watching play, and even playing with on the EA NHL games for a very long time. So congratulations to him. Moving on, Marian Hossa, to all of our Chicago lovers, Hossa, who's actually had a pretty stellar second half of his career with the Chicago Blackhawks, scored 1,134 points, 525 goals, 609 assists, and just over 1,300 games in 19 seasons. Starting off with the Senators, the Thrashers, Penguins, Red Wings, and Blackhawks. He scored 30 goals at least 8 times, 40 goals 3 times in his career. He's won 3 Stanley Cups with the Blackhawks back in 2010, 2013, 2015, and reached the Stanley Cup final with the Penguins back in 2008, and the next year with the Red Wings in 2009, when the Penguins and Red Wings went back-to-back in that 2008-2009 Cup, in those Cup finals, splitting them amongst each other. So 149 points in 205 playoff games with 52 goals, 97 assists. And he's the only player to play in the Cup final in 3 straight seasons with 3 teams. So he was eligible for the first time, and it was pretty much a landslide. So congratulations to Marian Hossa. He was definitely a skilled player, a guy that could really change the game and score at will and bunches too. So we've seen what he did with Pittsburgh when he came over in a trade from Atlanta with Pascal Dupuis. Really lit it up in Pittsburgh, went to the Cup final, lost, went to Detroit. The next year, Pittsburgh and Detroit meet again in the final. Pittsburgh wins that one, so he kind of went 0 for 2, and then joined Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves, Brent Seabrook and company, and won 3 Cups there in Chicago. So he's got the hardware, and I'm kind of glad that he got in on his first try, as he's definitely one of those guys that is definitely deserving and is really put in the work to get there too. Kevin Lowe, a defenseman, won the Stanley Cup 6 times, played in 7. He's a 7-time NHL All-Star. 431 points, 84 goals, 387 assists in 1,254 regular season games. 58 points in 214 playoff games with 10 goals, 48 assists. and played with the Edmonton Oilers and New York Rangers. It was a pretty stellar career for him. This was his 20th year of eligibility, so it took some time for Kevin Lowe to get in, but he was definitely a good shutdown defenseman and could produce some points on the back end. Power play and penalty kill time for Lowe was fairly normal and everything. So, like I said, 7-time All-Star, six-time Stanley Cup. In like I said, 20 years. I think he should have been in a long time ago. But I'm glad to see that he finally got in there to join some of the greats in the game. Doug Wilson, another defenseman on this list, won the Norris Trophy back in 1981, 1982 when he got 85 points with 39 goals, 46 assists in 76 games with the Blackhawks. He is the Blackhawks leader among defensemen in goals with 225, and assists was 554, and points with 779. Power play goals with 80, and power play points with 355, and leads the franchise with shorthanded goals with 9 and game-winning goals with 22. Wilson ranks 15th among NHL defensemen with 827 points, 237 goals, 590 assists, and just over 1,000 games with the Blackhawks and the San Jose Sharks. This was his 24th year of eligibility. So a couple of defensemen getting some late love, some late love here, getting into the Hall of Fame this past week. So, congratulations to Doug Wilson and Kevin Lowe. I'm really glad that they really got in. Those were two big workhorses that were, household names for a lot of years in the NHL and their respective teams. Getting on to Miss St. Pierre, Kim, who was the Canadian women's national goaltender, had a 1.7 or a 1.17 goals against average and a 93.9 save percentage playing for Canada. She played boys hockey until she was 18 years old, and then played on the women's team at McGill University before playing in the Canadian Women's Hockey League, which is the Canadian Professional League. So, she's definitely a big-time name up in Canada. 3 Olympic gold medals, 5 women's world championship gold medals, and one hell of a goaltender. I tell you what, watching St. Pierre was just very stout in net, very tall, or very, very, not very tall, but very big in the net, very confident, great rebound control, and like I said, really backstopped Canada to a lot of gold medals and world championship gold medals, for a lot of years. So congratulations to her. And then moving on into the builders category, Ken Holland, who right now is the current general manager of the Edmonton Oilers, was the general manager from the Red Wings from 1997 to 2019. They won 3 Stanley Cups in that span in 98, 2002, and 2008. And he was the assistant GM when they won it in 1997. Part of that great team, that Russian 5 team back in the day. When he was the GM in Detroit, it won more combined regular season and playoff games than any other NHL team with 1,044. He ranks 5th in NHL history with 962 regular season wins as a GM. Excuse me. It's in my throat. Ken Holland was, like I said, the GM of Detroit, really put a lot of great teams together, and was really responsible for drafting a lot of good players that have come up. Primary example would be Henrik Zetterberg and Pavel Datsyuk, who just recently, those 2 guys recently retired, just a few years ago and everything. So Ken Holland was a part of that Detroit Red Wing playoff dynasty of 26, 27 seasons in a row, whatever it was. I had a big hand in that, bringing in the right players for a long time. And then it just kind of got out of control for him, some bad contracts, guys getting old really hampered him in Detroit. And right now he's currently in Edmonton at the same position as a general manager, trying to get the Stanley Cup glory back to the Oilers, like it was back in the mid to late 80s. So, congratulations to our class of 2020. and really looking forward to seeing this ceremony. Hopefully we do get to see a ceremony. Usually they are later on in the year and everything, so hopefully all this mess will blow over and we can have all these guys enshrined properly, just like everybody else, Jay.
We can all hope, and hopefully this all plays out. I know all of us are ready, regardless of what sport you're a fan of. We're all ready for sports at this point. I don't think anybody cares what sport as long as there's some kind of sports. And NASCAR is at I think an all-time high in fan base, and it's because they're the only thing going right now, and it's better than nothing. But I want to thank you as always, and from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate everything that you've done the last 5 years. Got a lot of things in the works and a lot of things that we're trying to have accomplished before April 15th of 2021, our 10-year mark, and I'm looking forward to having you be a part of that and us continue to grow in the right direction. Next week, we do it again.
Yes, sir, man. It's always fun talking some hockey, trying to get some new fans, and educating people wherever I can. And hard to believe, like you said, Jay. It's been 5 years already, but hey, we're gonna see if we can keep it going. Another 5 years, and maybe another 5 after that. So, till next week, we will talk to you guys next week, and you guys stay safe out there, and everybody, take care of themselves.
You have a good night, Izzo.
You too.
That's Izzo, our NHL expert, with me every Monday night, 8:30. Make sure you guys don't miss that. I will be back on Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, to do it all again. Hit the latest topics. I'm sure the sports guys will bless me with some more interesting stuff that'll happen between now and Wednesday night. Don't forget, Thursday night, Race Chat Live. They do have Alan Bestwick joining them. ESPN NASCAR analyst, one of the best in the business, is going to be joining the guys Thursday nights. I will be in the studio producing it. Looking forward to that. You guys can go on. We have an event planned on our fan page. If you guys want any questions asked to Alan, post it there. The guys are going to let you guys ask questions and everything else. Don't forget, you guys can follow us on Twitter at 110 Nation. You can like us on Facebook, the 110 Nation Sports. Make sure you guys go to the site and check out www.110nationsports.com for all the latest going on here at the 110 Nation. Got to thank Carolina Sports Plus. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do, grow the way we grow. Go over and give them a like on Facebook, Carolina Sports Plus. Check out their merchandise. They have anything and everything you want. Man, you've got some great deals and you've got some great things going on. And you get it sent to you, cash out and everything. All you got to do is just go there and check them out. You can find some of his stuff on our Facebook. So make sure you guys do that. Wednesday night.
Thanks for listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show with Mr. CJ Sports. You are a part of the 110 Nation, so be sure to visit the110nation.com for everything related to the show. You can follow CJ on Twitter at 110 Nation and on Facebook at 110 Nation Sports. Until next time.